Back to the Love and Marriage podcast. I am Wendy O, and this is Hotep Jesus. This is his channel. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, interact with us. If you guys have any relationship questions, drop them in the chat. I promise to be as gentle as possible. And Hotep, on the other hand, he gets a little bit wild.
Oh yeah, I'm a rebel. I
Well,
was
last week I got hype.
last week the comments was like, "Yo, Wendy on one today." Did you see the comments from last video? You
I
got to go
I
look at the
I
comments.
go back and I watch, but then I saw a clip from you. Somebody had posted a clip from with you and Uncle Hotep, and you were like going off, and I was like, oh, I passed that energy off to him.
Yeah, yeah. But nah, you was on when you was lit. I just tweeted out the link.
All right, I'll go
So,
retweet it. So how's baby mom?
oh, life is great. Life is great. I mean, I've mastered women,
Uh
so
huh. Uh huh.
my life naturally would be great. I always say, men's two biggest headaches are money and women. And if you can solve two of those two puzzles, you'll be a very happy man. And I've solved those puzzles.
Because you put a ring on it, and now she does have to cook and clean.
I know she was doing that before. That was her reward for doing what she was supposed to do. Okay, you know.
She she's gonna play this bag, and your ass is gonna be on the couch.
She was complaining the other day. She was like, "I'm telling Wendy, oh, how you treat me." I was like, "You ain't telling Wendy nothing."
Because I got her back. Women, we stick together. Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah. So I'm on TikTok all the time, and apparently it's the week of the spiritual awakening. I want to say it lasted from August 20th, and then tomorrow is the last day for it. And interestingly enough, I'm normally very high strung. I've always got a lot of anxiety. I'm always worried about where's my next meal going to come from. What happens if my man gets hurt? What happens if we can't pay our bills? Like all these things. But this week, I have been very calm. I have been very cool. I've been very collective. I haven't worried about anything. It's like it's
Mm,
been building up to this moment.
like a zenned out moment.
Yeah. So anybody that's watching this tomorrow, if you guys want something, if you guys want to pay that house off, you want to get rid of your debt, you want a new car, whatever, or you want to start a business, the courage to start a new business, right when you wake up tomorrow morning, drink some water,
Yeah,
get a pen and paper and write down or manifest in your head whatever it is you want. And tomorrow's supposed to be a powerful day for that.
you have to close your eyes to see.
Hmm.
If you close your eyes and see, you will achieve. A lot of people don't understand that, and if they understood that, they'd be able to manifest their desires faster.
Well, it's a hard thing because human minds, the way our minds are wired, is that we essentially focus on the negative. I do that a lot. I'm very guilty of that. But once I realized that, and once I was ready to let go of some of my trauma and some of my past and my pain, good things started happening for me.
Mm. See, I was raised by a Jamaican father, and I was a rebel kid, so I got my ass whooped a lot. And the funny thing is about getting your ass whooped a lot is you start to realize that bad times are temporary. You start looking at whoopings like, you know what? This shit gonna be over before I know it. I'm gonna be laying in bed. I'm gonna be a little bruised up and hurting, but life goes on, right? So I learned really on, like, my dad was really hard on me too. He's like a military dad. He spoiled me like shit. Let's not get me wrong. Like he was definitely created like this balance in my life where I got everything I wanted, but I busted my ass for it. You know what I'm saying? That he busted my ass for it. So, and, you learn really fast that like bad times are temporary.
That's true. I know my dad was very strict with me and my sisters, but he was also very sick at that time too. But I know my husband. His mom. She would come with the chancla, and she would whip the kids because his dad would be at the bars all the time. He'd be out drinking. He did his man stuff. He worked all day. He was an electrician, worked manual labor, and he wanted to go to the bars and get drunk after. So she was stuck at home with the kids all day. So my husband would tell his brother Jim, he would say, "Jim, just take two on the butt, and just take two on the butt, and that's it." But Jim would always be running. He was running his whole entire life, always running from the law, always running from authority. So he didn't get it. My husband, on the other hand, he got it. He's very successful.
Man, nah, I ain't run. I just took it. Fuck it. Let's get it over with.
So before we get into the deep topic of religion and relationships, I wanted to talk about something a little bit messy with you.
Okay, let's do it.
So I'm on TikTok. I want to say it happened yesterday, and there's a woman. Oh, I don't know her name, and I don't know the basketball player's name, but I thought it was a meme. I originally thought it was a meme because there's a man, very muscular, and there is a woman with like pink hair straddling him. I thought it was a woman, so I thought that the basketball player had cheated on his wife or the girlfriend with some like stripper, some porn star, whatever. I had no idea who it was. I thought it was a meme. So then today I was on TikTok and I'm like, when I realized who it was, I was like, holy shit, this poor woman, because her baby daddy, even though they were split up, because when you have a baby, when you got kids with somebody and when you still have those lingering feelings, that's still your man. That's still your man. That's still your man, okay? And my man will tell you that he was still mine, even though we had separated at one point. He was still mine because the girl found out real quick he was still mine.
Now y'all seeing how the female mind operates. This is all truth. This is all truth.
I'm not going to talk about that. But anyways, so she was like, "Oh my god, like I can't believe you did this to our family." She was really upset because this dude, this straight man, the straight basketball player ended up being with Jeffree Star. And we're going to talk about Jeffree Star in a little bit, but I want to first kind of focus on the woman, the baby mom, because this is all out in the public. This is in the public. Basketball players, anyone involved in the sport industry, yes, there are people that are gay or they do come out transgender, whatever it is, that's their choice. But when you have a family, you have to be very careful and very sensitive how you come out. You can't just drop it on them like that because the baby mom had no idea. If it was just the baby mom or if it was just the ex-girlfriend, like, okay, whatever. But there's a child involved, and this child is going to look back and be like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Baby mom should probably be looking for a manager right now. I would look for some sort of entertainment manager and get some media bookings, first of all. Now, actually, before you do the media bookings, this woman should probably develop some sort of call to action, whether it be subscribe to my email list or buy my or pre-order my new tell-all book about my baby daddy, right? You know, because this is opportunity for her. You know, you've pulled somebody in who has, in Jeffree Star, some sort of social influence, some sort of following, and as this is just a very messy topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, you know, you gotta get a little messy to get out the mess. You know, you gotta transmute that energy. It's like, oh yeah, I want to be messy. All right, well, let me milk this and then get out, right? Because either way, you're gonna have to deal with this thing. So I would use it as an opportunity to cash in, create a brand or something like that. You know, launch a nonprofit.
Well, what ended up happening was because she was so upset, the woman was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you did this to our family," like blah, 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 blah. And then people were coming for her and they were harassing her, like, "How dare you? You guys weren't together." Like they were mad, like all the LBGQ. Well, I don't even know who it was, but there's just a bunch of people on social media. So apparently she deleted all her social media accounts.
Yeah, mistake number one. Yeah, she's playing this all wrong. You know, she should have acquired a manager that night. They could have put out. They could have got her booked on TMZ, right?
Mm-hmm.
And said, hey, check out my new crypto coin, or um, immediate like so. For example, right? If you're at that level, you can secure a manager who already has relationships to brands, and you can say to them, look, I'm looking for a manager who can secure me a sponsorship. I want to talk to the media about this, but I'm not going to talk about the media about this unless I have a sponsor. So if you have a sponsor and we can ink a deal, the same day we ink the deal with the sponsor, I'll sign the manager agreement and operate like that and get, a hat, whatever it is to sponsor. You wear their tee, whatever it is, you go out there and your sunglasses, whoever it is, if it's a Pepsi, tell them you need a Pepsi, whoever their sponsor is. You make sure you
No, I agree with you because it's messy. And so that was on that side. But then on the Jeffree Star side, first and foremost, he went to school with one of my really good friends, and he was really nasty to my friend, but I guess they had made up. And then he was also part of the Hollywood crowd I hung out with, but I don't remember meeting him ever. But that was neither here nor there. Um, but people are saying that he was racist and he had dropped the N word a couple times. And the basketball player is a black man.
Yeah, yeah. The N word has such a weird relationship with people these days, and I question what it was like back in the day due to the relationship it is with people today. Today, I saw one man call another white man the N word in defense of other N words. I don't know. It's a very strange time with that word. So
Yeah, I don't know. So I was just like, and I was just going through, if you go through the comments on this thread of them like walking in a field together, people like are turning it into a meme and just they're retweeting it and they're giving it these really insane captions. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's just so bad. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
I think the NBA player is understands right now it's grifting season. It's grifting season, and he's like, you know what? I can come up off this Jeffree Star thing. And you have to understand about the entertainment world is a lot of this shit ain't real. There's a lot of fake relationships people have been in
Right.
or have entered temporarily due to other circumstances. So when I see stuff like this, I'm like, is it real? Right. So immediately I'm like, oh, it's grifting season. They're getting paid off this. So, but the baby mama, I don't know how she's playing it, but she's just not playing it correctly. Somebody reach out to the baby mama, tell her to call Hotep Jesus, and I'll coach her.
All I know though is to I get some people are suppressed that sexuality part of them, and that's that does happen. But at the same time, it's like for you to work in such a masculine industry and then to be with somebody that's gay or transgender, that's a very wild publicity stunt.
In 2020, I think it's quite on brand.
I could like I just I couldn't imagine it. Like let's say my man told me like he was like, "Oh, well, I'm leaving and it's with the man." I would be shocked because he's so masculine. Like I would never have spotted it like a million like ever in my life.
Masculinity has nothing to do with sexuality. Yeah, boom. Drop a bomb on it.
You're right though, because I do know some men that are gay that are very alpha, like very very alpha. You couldn't tell that they're gay, and because I used to work in that stuff. But my best friend, he'll do man stuff. He'll hold the door open for you. He'll beat down a dude, but he's also when he opens his mouth,
Yeah.
it's like, "Hey girl, hey." It's very feminine, but he's also a manly man. Like he will, he will treat a woman like a woman
Yeah.
and whatever. So I wanted to talk about that because I was a little bit messy and I was like, I just was very shocked when I saw all that stuff. But um, well, first and foremost, I'm still in my training for the domestic violence. They didn't throw me out, even though that I told them that I believe in reverse racism and that I was I was arguing with them last show, because we had talked about that. But this week we learned about. Let me get my book so I can talk about it. Pull it up because I've got some things highlighted. But we learned about religion and marriage, and religion and domestic violence, the role that that plays, and every single religion, Islam, Christianity, um, being an Orthodox Jew, a regular Jew, Christian, they all have very high rates of domestic violence that happen inside of the community. And one of the things that happens is people because the way, and I read about Islam, I read about Christianity, I read about all these different, religions. I know there's about 2,400 religions. I didn't read about all of them. I'm talking about just the major ones. So when I'm saying the word religion to anybody that's watching this is the major religions. But basically it's saying in the Bible and all the other religious texts that men and women are to be treated equally, and that the Bible does not, or any religious text does not condone men dominating the household, nor does it condone domestic violence or forced sexual intercourse or hitting of the children. It doesn't condone any of that stuff. But it said that generally the abuser or certain members in the community take the word of God out of context to fit the narrative that they want to have, and then they act on those things.
Mm, mm. Yeah, men shouldn't dominate the household. Man should dominate life. These are just facts. I think when man is so concerned with something so little as the household, you see, when you're dominating life, your household just kind of like operates as it should.
Mm-hmm.
When you're dominating life, if you're so concerned about the household, means you're not dominating life itself. You don't understand these dynamics, and then the household kind of should just take its form. If a man dominates himself, he essentially dominates the woman. See, the only problem men have with women is their own emotions. People treat you how you allow them to treat you. People treat you how you treat yourself. People treat you how you treat yourself. So if you treat yourself like a fan of this person or whatever posture you take in this relationship, that's how you're going to be treated. People have to learn how to take a certain posture in a relationship. When you take that posture, you have no choice but to be treated a certain way. You have no choice but for your environment to operate in a certain way because your posture is so brilliant. Your posture is so brilliant that it creates this force field around you that doesn't allow negative energy to even stay in your circumference for too long. It may visit. We're definitely going to get visitations from negative vibrations. But do they linger and do they stay? If they're lingering and they stay, like they live in your house now, and this is your
Mm-hmm.
spouse or whatever, and you have this negative energy, it's not their fault. It's your
So,
fault.
but there's some interesting things to kind of talk about, to go into more depth with this, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a very in-depth topic. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things going on. So for example, in the Jewish house, well, one of the things that they said in this chapter of of understanding domestic violence was that domestic violence, because a lot of people are like, oh, domestic violence just happens with poor families.
Mm-hmm.
But they said it's like half and half. There's a lot of domestic violence and sexual force that's being used in families with a lot of money too. And
Oh,
the
absolutely.
reason why it happens with people with a lot of money is because in certain religions, the man is supposed to be, have a, like, it's ideal to marry a man that works very hard, that has good work ethic, that makes a lot of money, that's a man of God. And a lot of these times they're saying these men take that out of context, and that they take those readings from the religious work out of context, and they think that they need to be very dominant in the relationship, where they're entitled to force intercourse from their wife, and essentially discipline the wife with force for not doing exactly what he wants. And a lot of times the women or the person that's being abused does not speak up, because you don't really have anybody to speak up to, because the communities are so close knit that if you speak up, everybody gossips and talks, and they're like, oh well, she or he should just deal with it because it's their cross to bear, or because it's part of the thing. If you want to marry a rich successful man, you have to do what they say and you have to be submissive. So a lot of times a lot of these cases don't get reported. And specifically in the Jewish culture, I want to say it's Orthodox Jews, because not with the Jewish people I know, but with Orthodox Jews, if you want a divorce, or if your man is hitting you, you have to go to like the rabbis and the people, and you have to say, hey, this is what's happening. But once you do that, then it's a very long process. Then everybody in the community knows. and then you have to go home with the man, probably going to get your ass whooped, and you're scared you're going to lose your kids, and then it's like a back and forth court thing that you have to do, and you have to use their special courts to deal with all of that. And at the end of the day, even if the man is guilty of treating you wrongly, he still has to sign off on the divorce. And it has to be, he has to sign off to whether he wants to give you alimony or not. And you might not get that. So a lot of times these women end up staying. But I thought that amount of control is crazy and scary.
You see, if you ever watch X-Men, you ever watch X-Men?
Yeah.
Who's the most powerful?
Jean.
Bingo. See, for a while, Jean doesn't recognize her power.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She never really knew how powerful she truly was, but she was the most powerful X-Men. And that's basically allegory for the spiritual power of women. But she becomes a phoenix, and she has the power to kill others and harm people close to her. She's that powerful. She can harm people. And what we have in these religions is trying to contain the phoenix. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to contain the phoenix, and they try to contain the phoenix by lowering her, what do you call it? Self-esteem, right?
Mm-hmm.
They try to lower, make her insecure, and they beat her, and they try to subdue her that way. And that is one way to contain the phoenix. But the best way to contain the phoenix is to develop the phoenix, and be a partner to that phoenix energy. I'm a firm believer in, if you have to hit anyone on this earth, you just aren't intelligent enough. So again, I don't believe in hitting kids, period. Therefore, I don't believe in hitting women. I think that there are more intelligent ways to handle our problems. And I think if we sat back and thought about our problems from our heart and let our heart do the thinking, it's very hard. It's hard to allow the heart to think when the emotions are doing all this clouding of judgment. But if you can calm the heart and bring the heart to a calm, and then let the heart do the thinking, you can find solutions to the relationships and people around you. But it has to come from here and not here. See, when you come from here, you come up with dumb shit like, let's hit her. Right? Let's beat down her self-esteem. Right? That's logical thinking. Logically, you're like, all right, this works. But is that healthy? Is that love? Right? So I think if we allowed our heart to speak. So the other thing I want to say is, I have to think about this topic objectively. And when I look at the communities that you mentioned, I find that these communities as a community thrive. So therefore, I do not think it's my place to put my nose in the business of how they decide to treat their women. Um, again, I've already stated I don't believe they should be hitting women. I think but I mean, that's what you get when you get stupid people, right?
Right.
So like, what?
But it's just crazy because the thing that kind of that got me when I was reading this is that basically, there's a written word of God that's,
Mhm.
God came down and said X, Y, and Z. And then humans, these human men, I know the reason why I'm saying men is because men are generally in charge of the household. They're in charge of the religious writing, like from the beginning of time. They're the ones that kind of dictated things. But they went ahead and they took this stuff out of context from the Bible or from, the Quran or any of these religious articles, and they said, well, if your wife does this, and you're empowered to do this because it says it in the Bible. So they're taking these old religious writings and they're manipulating it to fit their personal bias so that they can do what they want to do, and that's my issue. And I'm just like
Well,
you shouldn't use a religious idea to push your narrative.
it's dicey though, right? Because if you follow the book, your life will be good. A lot of people don't follow the book. Now, I don't think it need to be followed to the T. But again, when you're dealing with people who are religious, they may not be conscious. conscious and religious is not synonymous. A conscious individual understands context, nuance, relevance. It knows how to take the Bible, and it knows, what's good and what's bad. That's judgment, it comes from being conscious. But when you're programmed, it's like it's really hard to fault somebody when they were raised that this is the way,
Right.
right? Like it's really hard to fault them because they don't. It's like a child; they don't know no better, right? So it's like, how do you? So what do you do? Do you come in, bomb their country, and bring democracy?
Well, I mean, now in the United States, when people come over here from other countries, and the reason why I'm saying that is because the churches over in the United States are different than churches from, the homeland or wherever the heck. So what they do is they are realizing that there are problems within the households with domestic violence and these terrible things that do happen. And so that they have like safe places that you can go in some of the churches. Like I want to say in Philadelphia, there's a like an Islam sector to where they have a place for people that are Muslim to go, or for women to go, where they can go and say, hey, this is what's happening. And then they kind of go and they intervene and they, try to figure this stuff out. So there's no violence because, that stated that 50% of men who beat their wives, they end up beating their kids as well. So the kids get brought into this, and that's not healthy. And we're also learning about how trauma impacts kids. So when kids are young adults, when they experience heavy trauma, what happens is they take that with them to grow up. A lot of them become alcoholics. Become abusers from the trauma, and they have a lot of health problems that like heart disease and lung disease, like all these different things that happen to the body. Because when you're stressed out and when you're going through trauma, you're like your insides are like clenched. I feel like, because I have had that feeling before, so I know it. So they have places for people to go to, but it's also very hard, is because like let's say like for Latinos, for example, in this thing that I'm reading, it says that in the Catholic Latino community, that it's part of the cross that you bear, and that Jesus carried his cross. So this is your life. You have to carry your cross. You shouldn't have to leave. You shouldn't leave the relationship or the marriage because you're being abused. You just have something you have to kind of stick with. And it's very taboo in a lot of these very religious communities to talk about being abused or to talk about wanting to get divorced.
Yeah, no, run. If you don't want to be there, run. You getting your ass whipped, run. If there's some place to go, run. I'm not even going front, because that shit ain't cool at all. The human brain is a computer. It's been programmed, and we understand is that there are a lot of people on this earth who are operating completely based upon the programming of the unconscious. The unconscious is basically the puppet master to the brain, to the mind. And there's really no one at home. Like there's someone there, but they're not there, right? This person's conscience, uh, not the one with the E, is somewhere else. It's not present. But people is, and there's a lot of people like that. Like I would say the majority of people are unconscious. I would say 80, definitely upwards of 80% of people are unconscious. Like they do things that all the time that they're just not conscious of. They're not conscious of themselves. You know, getting better is about self consciousness and being conscious of your flaws. And when people point them out, taking note of them and like making a conscious effort to change them. Right? Being conscious is looking at all sides of things and deciding, hey, you know, this is a better route to do this, as opposed to, for example, I'll give you a great example. Um, Everybody talks about communism and socialism online and capitalism and all these things. And from my studies, I've come to a conclusion that very few people have come to. When I ran this past Thaddeus Russell on one of his lives, and I told him the definition of socialism is centralization. And he sat there and he thought about it for a second. This is someone who was raised socialist. He was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. But that is extrapolation after study, right? Like you study to bring about the new thing. And these people aren't birthing ideas. And that's the problem. These people are actually programmed sentient bots. Some people talk about bots and AI. Well, the AI is your peers. It's the cancel culture mob. These are the unconscious bots. The Antifa, these are unconscious bots, and they all have a programmer. And religion is one of those programmers. Um, we are at some level programmed. We have a base operating system, and the better your base operating system when you come into the world, and that operating system's coming from your mother and father, and um, the better that operating system is at the very beginning, the better you are. But a lot of people need to um, install a new operating system.
Well, I think that they are aware of what they're doing. It is a I mean, you just don't. There's very few people that actually black out and commit these types of things. So there's that, and I do agree with what you said that religion is used to kind of control people, to an extent, because like what I'm seeing with this, it's like I had thought about it, but until I actually read it, I was it kind of put me off. I was kind of shocked. I was like, wow, this is crazy that this is an actual, you know, that this is actually happening. And I don't know, it was just kind of upsetting that I just kind of felt like, and this is not against all men, but I just kind of felt upset that, some of these men that they're using, the word of God to manipulate the situation to carry out, with their narrative and to carry out what they want to do and to exert that type of power over another human being. Because at the end of the day, when you're
But
abusive,
it's in those books, though, right?
huh?
It's in those books, though. Those books do have passages about beating women.
Well, it says that in this little reading that I'm doing, it says that people are taking it out of context. That the Bible or the Quran or um, I forget what the Jewish thing is called, but it actually never says that.
Right. Like, yeah. So people are basically translating it how they feel.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it because it's something that's still happening today. And I mean, at least today there's places for women or people that are being abused for them to go and to kind of get some refuge. But still, it's like if you are a victim, that to actually have to go and to get help, especially with some of these small communities, if you're living in like rural America and you've got like one church and everybody knows your business at the church and there's like a population of like 2,000 people, everybody's going to know your business. It's going to be humiliating to leave.
Hmm. Indeed. Indeed. Um, I watched a documentary on the Hasidic community, and just even like some of the males that were trying to leave that community and like be reintroduced into life. Some of them couldn't read right. They've never like seen TV, and like they had like a really hard time adjusting to, I would say, Western civilization culture. Um, so like even like the Mormons or the Amish, right? These people have like a way of life. So I always think about things like, so what do you do, right? What do you do with this problem, right? First of all, like, do we send the state in, right? And I'm like, nah, because you send the state in, women are going to be worse off than they started. They're going to go from getting their ass beat to living on the street getting their ass beat. Right? So it's like, let's not make the problem any worse than it already is.
Right.
I think it's about um, I think it's very much about um, allowing the problem to solve itself. I think that if you have close ties to the community and you want to find a better way to handle this, cool. If you are not a part of this community, I think that you should mind your business, because uh, you're basically dealing with cultural subversion, and these are tactics that the FBI follows. So it gets dicey, right? And then when you do that, you also end up with mama on the street getting her ass beat.
Right. I mean, I mean, I'm like, obviously I'm not getting involved in any of this stuff. And when
Yeah,
you're, because it's such a very sensitive topic, and you generally, you let the household deal with it, and you let the parents deal with it, and you let the churches deal with it. But even then, some of these people, they're still placed in really hard situations to where it's hard for them to get out. And if you're in a very, very small town and you're fearing for your life, it's just, I don't know. I couldn't imagine it. Because like, I'm in Los Angeles. If something happens to me, God forbid, which it's not going to, but if something happens with me, I can get up and go and I'm fine. Like, there's lots of places for me to go and to hide. But
yeah,
for some of these other people, they're just kind of stuck.
yeah, yeah. It sucks, man. It's really, it's really really a bad situation for humanity. Um, I think it just speaks to the world we live in. You know, it's very imperfect. The world we live in is very imperfect, and it's also like I wrote in the email yesterday to my email list. Um, when the world goes down, when the world burns down, you got to go up. Um, so us as individuals, people with platforms, have to raise our level another notch, right? We have to be even better at what we do. If we're fathers, we have to be even better at being fathers. If we're husbands, we have to be even better at being husbands. Um, Whatever it is that we do, we gotta. It's time to turn up, right? At times get dark, we gotta bring the light because the conscious ones won't know no better. So the conscious ones actually have a responsibility um, to humanity. The conscious ones, we are responsible for our family, um, which is humanity. So those are where our gifts must lie. Our gifts weren't given to us for us; they were given to us because uh, with superpowers you get great responsibility, right? So, the conscious ones, we have superpowers, and it's not like you use those superpowers for selfishness. You were given superpowers because you can help more than yourself, right? So I think that's what we got to do is continue to raise our level to the point where we can help ourselves and others. I always take an example like this. A lot of people complain about a lot of bad stuff happening in this world, and I would say, do you have enough? Let's say you ran into an 18-year-old girl who looked like she just got, just escaped sex trafficking, right? Do you have enough money on you to give her $100, put her in a hotel room, and hire her an attorney for one night? Right? I always think about stuff like that. Like what if you run into an adult, a male, who looks just disheveled, 18-year-old kid, and he just looks like his life is lost, right? And he's just like just on the street, and just like, what is this kid doing here? Do you have enough to just take him off the street that night, throw $100 in his pocket, buy him some food, put him up in a hotel, and then send him to school, right? Can you do that? Like, so how many people can we actually help like that? We all have kids that we have to take care of first and foremost. So it's like, all right, I got these superpowers. It's like, yo, so my kids will be taken care of, but I got to do that for 100 children before I leave this earth. I think people got to have that outlook on life to know that there are have-nots in this world, and if you have, you got to use your superpowers to help out 100 kids. I can't wait till I have my first billions, because I'm literally gonna walk in the streets and just turn like people on the streets into like the most great individuals you have ever met before, and just start developing people, and just fucking put him in one of my corporations and train him, or find out his gift first and foremost and put him at somebody else's training, somebody else's corporation, friends of friends, and just like, build people up and give them the skills they need to kind of survive in this world. Give them a haircut, give them a place to stay. Like, look, rent is free for the next 90 days while you're training for this job or this skill. If you're a painter, fine, we're gonna build you an art gallery, right? Because there's a lot of like people who are homeless doing bad, but they have like really great skills, right? Like
Hmm.
like some of the best painters are like, a great saxophonist. It's like, look, we about to take you, boom, we're gonna market you, we're gonna put you on tour. You doing a saxophone thing. We're gonna take this footage of you. You used to live under this bridge. Now look at you, boom, you on tour with Jay-Z, you on tour with whoever. You know what I'm saying? Just start taking individuals off the street and just building them up. That's what this thing is about. And I think then we can change the world. But I think if we try to impose our will upon like other groups of people, it gets real sticky, man. It gets real sticky because you're dealing with ideological subversion.
What would you do if somebody didn't want to get help though? Because there's a lot of people that are on the streets that don't want help.
Then they don't get help. You can only God can only help those who help themselves, right?
You just keep running amok.
What do you mean?
Well, where I am,
Mm-hmm.
the some of the homeless population that they've got a lot of the heavy problems and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they are a lot of them are very talented, and generally a lot of people that do have some of these extreme mental issues, they're very artistic or they're very musically inclined, and they just aren't really able to fit in at a job, like a normal job. But they get wild, like if they're just wild on the streets, they can still be causing harm to other people.
Um, I don't know if there's any like evidence to back that argument up. Just to say somebody's on the streets and say they're crazy, I don't think. I think bums are actually the smartest people in society.
Some of them are. I used to, when I worked at the thrift store in Pasadena, I made friends with a lot of them,
Yeah.
and they were very interesting people. There was a woman. Her name was Phyllis,
Hmm.
and she was a black woman,
Hmm.
and she's very interesting. So apparently she came from DC, and she was very nasty to a lot of people, but I was cool with her. We would talk, and she would go through these really manic states to
Hmm.
where she would just like completely lose her mind, and she would walk up to men and spit on them and call them the n-word and curse at them,
Hmm.
even if they were not black.
Hmm.
And other times she would be more calm, and she would talk to me, and she would give me letters and just different things like that. But she was not capable to work. But one of her stories that she told me is that she marched in DC, like way, like during the 60s and the 70s for equal rights and stuff like that.
Hmm.
When she was coherent, she'd be able to tell those stories, and it was an amazing story to hear. And then other times she would be in the thrift store, and there would be a certain song that would come on from
Hmm.
that era. And I remember out of nowhere one day,
Hmm.
it was a Beatles song, and it was that song, JoJo was a man, she thought she was a woman.
Hmm.
So that song came on, and she was
Hmm.
in the thrift store, and
Hmm.
she just started like doing like the sick, like some sort of like weird like dance
Hmm.
from one, and it was a big thrift store, from one side to the other side, and the song stopped, and
Hmm.
then she started cursing people out again.
Yo, Erica Lachey, I had her on my channel last Friday. Great interview, but she said this on her thing. She's like, "Yo, when events happen in life and images we show people, those things store in our unconscious, right? And then when we see those things again, um, it replays memories, whether conscious or unconscious. Now that individual is on the extreme end of the spectrum, where she has these manic episodes, right? Everybody has them.
Hmm.
We're just at different levels of it, and that's what I mean about being conscious, right? Like, she's just at the extreme level, but there are a lot of triggers that people have that they're not even aware of that'll completely change their mood, and they're like, "Why am I even in a bad mood?" And it's some song that was probably playing during a bad moment back, in your stored memory.
Well, they're saying, because I'm telling you, like, and everybody that's watching this, they're like, they're like, Wendy, you're crazy. But like on TikTok, I'm really learning a lot of stuff, because there's like some rappers that were on there. People are pulling the audio clips and the footage, or just like musicians in general, people that are listening to the Hertz and just like the Monk Bowls, that type of stuff. But they're saying that because we're made up of matter, and like electricity and water, is that vibrations, it impacts our minds differently. So when you're listening to low vibrational music, it's going to cause you to act up and to act a certain way. But when you're listening to music, like, that's why they say when you listen to classical music,
Hmm.
that it's supposed to increase the IQ. That's why when, as when you're pregnant, you're supposed, you have the baby listen to it. And I remember for 10 minutes in the car, every day when I was working, when I was pregnant, I would make sure I'd listen to some kind of classical music to help, to help with that vibration. But I agree with all that type of stuff, and I feel like they're putting a lot of low vibrational stuff in our movies and musics so that it kind of keeps us down here when we need to be up here, and we have the capabilities to be up here.
Yeah. The guy's name is Imoto Masaru. I'm not sure. I believe he's Japanese. Yeah, Japanese. Dr. Masaru Imoto. And he talks about water consciousness. And he has some very interesting experiments he does with water. And if you know anything about the human body, we're 65% water or something like that. And the brain is 90%, 80% water or something like that, right? So then you talk about like how he's doing these experiments and these vibrations and things that they do with the water. It's just like, it's really interesting. Shout out to D Mazasha. What up, girl? Thank you for the super chat. She said resources and the will to leave is prime for humans' liberation from abuse. You're both right, programmed persons, and there are the jerks' excuses. She also says homelessness is like a form of addiction. Some become conditioned to it.
I
Conditioned
agree with that.
it becomes hard to keep a stable home, and it's like any form of addiction. There is evidence for this, not crazy, but addiction. That's a very interesting breakdown. I wasn't aware of. I think that they're more intelligent than the average individual because think about it, right? Like you go get the bag. You got to take 30% of the bag and you got to give it to the government, right? They
Hmm.
are living rent free. Sometimes I think, man, these people are probably happier than most of us. They might be a little manic, they might be a little off, some of them, but I think they're probably happier than a lot of the people who have things in America. I think some of the craziest people have money, right?
There
Like,
was there was a lady in West Hollywood. She would walk around barefoot. Her feet would be black,
uh,
black,
yeah.
and she was filthy everywhere. And there was a rumor that she was actually like an heiress, like a multimillionaire, and she would just have to get out of her house, get away from the help, everybody that was waiting on her, just to be real and to be on the street. So you would only see her. You would see her for like every couple months.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm.
Interesting stuff.
Yo, I always said if I was a bum, I'd be a Miami bum.
You do what?
I'd be a Miami bum. I'd be a Miami bum. I'm telling you, man. It'd be too easy, man. You get to lay on the beach all day. When it rains, you just go get some cover. You could hustle up a little. I'd probably learn magic tricks, man. I might even work my way up and be staying in one of them hotel rooms after a while. You know what I mean? Get a little ambition. But
I
yeah,
like my house. I don't want to be a bum.
bum sounds like fun though to me. It sounds
They're
like an
fun.
adventure. It sounds like an adventure.
I'm having trouble hearing you. It's like all shh.
Somebody else said that last thing. How do I sound, y'all?
No, the chat is fine. I could hear you like when I go to the chat's fine because I was able to hear it there, but it's like all fuzzy.
That's weird. Okay, I'll disconnect my mic and connect it again after we.
We'll test it. Yeah, it's for some reason it's being weird. So, I've got some other stuff that I want to talk about though.
Okay.
Some other things because we got a little bit of time left. So I pulled some tweets because by the way, anytime I am editing something, where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Anytime I'm editing something, my daughter comes in and she goes, Mama, is that Hotep? And I go, no, baby, that's not Hotep. And then she goes, okay. But then on Saturdays, that's when I do our editing for the stuff. And she's like, oh, Mama, that's Hotep. I says, yeah. And she's like, I like him. And she's
Yeah.
like, wait. She goes, wait. She goes, Mom, he has long hair. And I says, yeah. She goes, but he's a boy, right? I says, yeah. I says, sometimes boys have long hair. She's like, so boys and girls could have long hair. I says, yeah. She's like, okay, I like him.
What Kanye say? Listen to the kids, bro.
Well, because we tell her because I have long hair and her dad has a beard and he's bald, so we try to we're trying to differentiate sex, gender because things are so confusing
Mm.
these days, and it's the easiest way to say is women have long hair, men have short hair and they have beards, for the most part. So, but she likes Hotep. She vibes with Hotep.
See,
but
we gotta listen to the kids, yo. Try to tell you.
But every time it could be with anybody. It doesn't matter. She's like, "Oh, does that Hotep? Can I say hi to him?" I'm like, "No, baby, I'm not." I'm like, "I'm not on with him. I'm not on with him. I'm editing, or it could be somebody else." And it's just so funny because she had a fun time showing herself when she came and said hi that day. And I showed my mom, and my mom was like, "Oh my god," because she gets, she likes attention. She loves to get
Yeah,
attention, but it has to be on her terms. So when she came in here, that was on her terms. She was empowered.
yeah, yeah. Tell her I said hello. Tell her Hotep Jesus said, "What's up?"
I will tell her. I will tell her. But before we go, let's talk about some tweets
All
because I
right,
got some tweets that I want to get your feedback on. So let me pull this.
talk about some tweets.
I don't know if we talked about this one before, but because I can't keep track, but I want to get your opinion on this one. My buddy Lewis had posted it a long time ago, but I had found it. So he said I'm listening to Ben Shapiro on Joe Rogan. They got to talking marriage, and I found myself strongly agreeing with Ben's take. Make the decision that you want to get married and then find the right person. Opposed to Joe's take, find the right person, then decide you want to marry.
Hmm. Interesting. Um, that's the wrong question to ask Hotep Jesus because I can see both angles. Which alludes me to the fact that I have to assume that to create a dichotomy of that argument is to be foolish. The wise man must see both sides of the coins, otherwise he is duped while one eye is covered. Um, so the argument is really is people don't have discipline and they don't know what they want, and then they go and they end up in a marriage and that's not what they wanted, which is Ben Shapiro's take. And uh, Rogan's take is if you find the right person, you'll get married. And both of those people are absolutely correct. Um, I would have to lean more towards Joe's side of the argument because um, you see, you can be married without being married, and that's and then when you have that, the marriage happens. It's the timing's right, but you first have to be married at the respect level and at the trust level, you know. um and if you can act like two civilized adults for more than 5 minutes, you shouldn't have any problems. um the marriage is just a formality. um But
I like
I like Joe's. Get the person first.
I like Joe's take because I feel like once you decide you want to get married, then you're going to start rushing it and you're probably going to marry the wrong person. So
Mm,
I like find the right person, then decide you get want to get married. Like find the
yeah, because
person.
like getting married isn't like a life goal, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not like, oh look, okay, it's time to get married. It's like, nah, you need to find a partner.
Well, I mean,
You gotta know what you looking for. You know, I like what McAfee said, man. Remember when McAfee how he was talking about Janice? He was like, yo, when I'm not looking, I know she's surveying the room and just, got my back. That's really what you need. It's not like you looking for a husband. You're looking for somebody who got your back,
partner.
a partner in crime, somebody got your back. And that's why you get, all these crazy things like happened with Jeffree Star and all of that. Was like you with somebody that don't got your back. Yeah, if you was with somebody that had your back.
Well, I think that guy. I think the whole Jeffree Star thing. I think that guy was just in the closet. So it just is very upsetting what he did to the. It just bothers me because it's like if you have any. This is the thing. I love the gay community. I support the gay community. I support lesbian, transgender, and gay men for the most part. Just as long as they ain't doing no weird things with minors. That's my only thing. So I support the gay community. However, if you are gay or you have the feeling that you might be gay, don't go get somebody pregnant. Don't go have a kid. That's just not fair to the child because then you have all this drama that comes on. Like, figure out what you want to do first. If you decide you want to marry the same sex and then have kids that way, that's fine. But don't go out and get pregnant and mess around and then bring a child into your mess, into your drama. That's my only thing.
Mm. Yeah, if I was the Kim Jong Un of this thing, if I was dictator, and two individuals um, conceived a baby, I'd force them to be together. There would be no splitting allowed, and there would be no dating of anybody else allowed. There'd be no dating allowed. This is the choice you've made, and you have to live your life for this child. And then once this child is 18 years old, then you can break up. That's how I would do it. It's kind of stupid in a way because you shouldn't force two people together that shouldn't be together. But really, what I'm saying is, you lose your privileges of what you want in life in lieu of the baby's privileges. And you guys, need to provide a healthy household. And we'll send a coach in, to make sure you guys know how to take care of your household. We'll send a coach in. That's no problem. But we're starting to get into like status, and people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, you're a status." If I'm running the show, hell yeah. If anybody else is, hell nah. um, but I just think it's wholly unfair to the child that two people decided to lay down together and have a child, and the child doesn't get both of them in their lives. um they deserve both those lives to be there all the time, every waking minute of the day.
I guess I could get behind that.
Huh, it's
The
such
world
it's such a conundrum, right?
the
Like,
world is a crazy place. That's all I got to say.
I
There's
mean,
just too much.
think about it. Like, you have women out here who conceive children, and they're fucking worried about like some man they're dating, right? Or going to date a man, or these other like if once you have a child and you're a single mom, like I feel like you should lose your dating card.
Hmm.
Like, you should just like you gotta put it in park real fast, mama. You gotta put it in park real fast. Um, and because unless you have your shit together, right? Because a lot of women out here, the child's suffering while you out doing your thing. Now, if the child is being taken care of, then all right, yeah, you can go play. But there's a lot of women out here, man, that like they chasing the streets, man.
Well, it goes both sides because there's both men and women that are just they have kids and they, I mean, like we talked about this last show, and that's why I was so kind of emotional about it. Is because like once you have a child, once you have once you're a female, if
Mm,
you're a woman, you have a baby. It is really your responsibility. Yes, it is a man's responsibility too, but at the end of the day, some men leave. We want to say that all men are going to be there, but look at sometimes stuff happens, and this goes for the man too. If once you have a baby, once you have a child, your life doesn't have to stop, but your life should revolve around that child and bringing up a strong boy or girl, because
mm,
if the father and the mother aren't there, or if you guys can't even be amicable, if you're separated, it's going to impact the baby, and this child is going to grow up and to carry that behavior.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's a weird place to be. You have some people who fight for custody, where they don't even want to take care of the child. They're fighting for custody
It's
just to
I
spite.
mean that's just to spite the other person though, and that's a whole nother thing that's wrong. It just that blows my mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd probably do like some. I'd probably take these people. So this is my utopian dictatorship, where I take this couple and we turn them into a reality show and we lock them in the house. And in actuality, they're going to live in a community with other people who have fucked up situations just like them. We're going to create a community. You want to live fucked up? Cool. We're going to move you over here with the other people who make bad sex decisions, right? And you're going to live here until you graduate. You can live with the rest of civilization, right? So when you guys want to date, you date other people who make bad decisions. Right? And then everything will just balance itself out. And then you just end up, swapping it. Like maybe this kid's dad becomes that kid's dad. And then, like, fine, as long as the kids getting the time they need, and the masculine and feminine energies balance, we're good. but I'd force people to, move to this place, and I'd incarcerate you if you cheat too. I would definitely incarcerate.
Wait, you would incarcerate if somebody cheats?
Yes, you'd be incarcerated.
Wait, incarcerate if somebody cheats.
Yes, you cheat, you have to face the law.
Is that for both men and women?
Yes, yes.
Okay, then that's
You've conceived a child. You are now locked into a relationship with this person for 18 years, and if you cheat, I will incarcerate you.
what about if you're whooping someone's ass?
I mean, I'm whooping your ass then. Like, bring your ass over here. You whoop your ass, 10,000 lashes upon him back. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we handling that in my utopia. You hit, you get hit.
What happens if a woman? What happens if I get mad at my man and I whoop his ass?
Lashes for you too. Actually, nah, we can't hit women. Um, we have to. I think we'd have to incarcerate him.
Put him under protection.
We know we'd have to ask him like, why are you getting beat up by a woman? What is wrong with you, bro? Like what have you done that this woman has to beat on you? Like I have to question his masculinity. We might have to put him through masculinity school.
You know what? That's a good. I like that because they need it.
Obviously, he's a beta, so he needs alpha training. So we have to take the man and put him in alpha training. The woman's got to go into,
Femininity training.
yeah, she's gonna need some femininity training.
Not. I won't teach. I won't lead that because I need to work on that just a little bit, as I'm a little bit from the streets.
Yeah, we're gonna have to separate them for some to them too, and bring him back when he's more alpha. Bring her back when she's, you
I'm
know,
learning how to be a lady.
as you take boxing lessons from
I
a
have to. I mean, the boxing lessons are actually. I've been to multiple different therapists and counselors like since I was young, and the only thing that's actually helped me has been martial arts. It's helped ground me. It's helped with my mental stuff, and It's helped with my confidence. Without it, I wouldn't be. I probably wouldn't be the person who I was today.
hmm Yes, yeah, it's very good for you. The martial of the arts teaches you the Zen work, and always remember when you breathe to the tummy. Breathe to the tummy, never to the chest, always to the tummy. Yeah, I can tell you. I can tell you need it.
I can barely hear you, so I don't know what you're saying.
I can tell you need it. I can tell you definitely need it.
That I
You,
need it.
yeah,
The boxing, yeah, I do.
yeah.
It helps. It helps calm me down. I need to this week I've been doing some I'm going to be doing some more soul searching stuff, but I'm just kind of getting started of being more spiritual, and I'm excited about it.
I'm gonna give you. Let me read the super chat. I'm gonna tell you how to be spiritual. Rocky, he said, personal responsibility is underrated in society today. Hello from Canada. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I like what Natasha said. She said, "For real, I wouldn't date a dude that couldn't take me."
Yeah, there's a serious problem there. So spirituality is not found underneath the sun under a cool breeze when the birds are chirping and the grass is green. It's not where you find spirituality. You find spirituality in the
From
trenches.
whooping somebody's ass.
No. Oh my God, no.
I'm just kidding.
She's like whooping somebody's ass. It's a different type of spirituality.
Well, this is the thing. I can close my eyes and I can get you. Get you.
We have to find the Zen in war. You cannot find spirituality when it's calm. You have to find it in during tension. So when things around you are burning, that is the time when you have to go to the Zen. And then that is when you practice. You cannot practice spirituality under perfect conditions. You have to practice spirituality in the midst of the war, and it makes you a paladin.
You know what's interesting about that? The martial art my dad studied was kung fu. The guy that he trained with lived in China. I think he was an orphan and he grew up in the like an orphanage with the monks. Something happened and he stole the martial art books from the monks and he fled to the United States. And then he opened up a practice. That's how he made money. The guy actually knew Bruce Lee. I believe they were friends. That's like a little wives' tale that's told. My dad was actually going to write a book about the martial art, but my stepmom has everything because she was a terrible person. Um, but the martial art kung fu was actually based off of spirituality and on meditation and all that type of stuff, because in order to carry out a lot of like the 1 inch punch and a lot of these moves and the throws, you had to be very spiritual and you had to meditate and you had to really have control over your mind. Because back in my dad's day, back in the 70s and 80s 70s, what they didn't have pads, they didn't have they didn't really do shadow boxing. It was all hand to hand combat. And there's pictures of my dad like whooping on people and him getting whooped on. And it's I'm gonna have my mom send them to me, but they're amazing pictures. Like some of the footage, it's just it's absolutely unreal. But you had to have that strong mental attitude to be able to endure that pain, because they're like warriors.
Yes, yes. You have to take the hand. Take the hand, hold it out in front of you. And when you breathe in, feel the tingling sensation around your fingers. And then once you do that, take the other hand and do it.
Yeah, I've been doing the breathing stuff.
Yeah, that's what you need to practice. And the best time to meditate is when you're about to fall asleep.
In the morning, right?
No, no. When you fall asleep.
Oh, at nighttime?
Oh yes. That's a Hotep Jesus secret.
That's what Hotep Jesus said. Okay.
Everybody meditates in the morning. Nobody
Well,
meditates.
I like to meditate before I go whoop somebody's ass. Well, I'm putting my hair up. Hold my purse, hold my jacket, let's go.
Lord have mercy. Yo, Wendy O, shout out, yo.
For legal purposes, that was a joke.
Said Bruce Lee is Wing Chun based for his Jeet Kune Do, but he added,
Uh,
yeah.
Sketch Therapy said Bruce Lee is Wing Chun based for his Jeet Kune, but he added grappling.
And boxing,
Yeah.
and boxing. He
Well,
changed it to four.
apparently the guy that trained my dad knew Bruce Lee, and they fought or something like that.
Oh yeah, your daddy fought Bruce Lee.
No, not my dad. The guy that trained my dad.
Oh, I just lied and be like, yeah, my daddy fought Bruce Lee.
No, I'll send you. I will send you the. I'm not going to say what it is. My hair just got crazy because I got all crazy. I'll send you the martial art what it was privately. Because it would be really easy to dox my dad that way, because he was a very well known one of the masters or whatever. But it's a very interesting story, and like there are some things that you can find online, but it's a very very interesting story.
Mm. You see, there's a lesson there. The allegory of your hair getting wild and crazy as you did. That's the allegory, the spirituality, which you feel will manifest into the physical world.
Oh, well, I'm going to be calm.
And then the hair will come back.
My hair will come back.
See that? See that? This is how we have to manipulate the matrix.
You know, before we go, I got to talk about my hair. My hair is very hard to maintain. I did a whole media piece. See, I get pieces that stick up because my hair is naturally curly. I did a media piece the other day, and I had a piece of hair that was like sticking up like this. So I had to put a graphic over it because wasn't going to redo it. But my hair is very wild. It is very curly.
It is long too.
Come in. Oh, come here. Wait, hold on a sec. What happened? I have no idea what she's saying.
And I want my dad there.
Sam, what's she trying to say?
Say it again, wait.
What?
Oh, she said nobody whoops my dad.
Let's go.
Hey, Sam. Hey, Sam. No, I don't want to hear her talk. I want to hear you talk.
Here, stay right here. Don't go right there. No, we're gonna go in the other room.
Okay.
All right.
Because the other night we were arguing about something. I was like, I'm gonna whoop your ass, and she goes, nobody whoops my dad ass.
See, See, kids be knowing. Kids be knowing. Listen to the kids, bro.
All right. Well, so we got anything else before we go?
Nah, I think you covered everything. I have, as usual, I've brought nothing to the table. I just want everybody to know. Wendy O does an excellent job of curating the show. She cuts the clips. She fucking comes up with the topics. I suck at this stuff, which is why I'm so thankful that my co-host is Wendy O. Because if it was up to me, it wouldn't be a Tuesday show. It wouldn't be a Wednesday show. I'd be doing something else. So shout out to Wendy O for making this happen. Super, super, super love to Wendy O. And make sure y'all follow her YouTube channel and learn about crypto. Damn it, you're gonna have to learn about it. Learn
Mm-hmm.
it. So get on her channels in the description box below. So make sure y'all go subscribe to her channel and get tuned with all the wonderful, great things that she provides.
Well, I appreciate that. So we next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday we'll be on.
All right. I'm going to find some juicy topics for next Wednesday. And I will meditate before and I will be a lady.
I don't know about that last part. I don't think you're gonna do that last one.
You want to catch? I'm gonna call your girl. I'm gonna call your girl. She's gonna tell me all the things. She's gonna listen to this. She's gonna email me.
No,
We're gonna talk.
I'm not allowing that to happen.
I'm gonna come out there.
I'm not allowing that. She's not allowed to talk to you. You're a bad influence.
All right, you guys, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, set alerts, and we will see you next Wednesday at 9:30 ET. And I have to go whoop my man's ass because he's about to give my baby ice cream, and it is almost 8 p.m. and that's not happening.
Uh-oh.
Bye.
Peace.